Okay, I think we are delayed again. How bizarre. This is so strange. Well, I'm going to keep trying things to make the delay go away. In the meantime, welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at headlines from our city, our state, and our country. We take a look at your questions, your ideas, your suggestions on how to have a more connected life here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals, even through the summer. Yes, we are English-speaking locals through the summer, and we are bravely enduring the heat as we've learned to do for years and years and years. So if this is new to you, if the summer heat is new to you, let us know how you're coping with the heat. Let us know if you are having a difficult time. If not, share your tips on how you're staying cool and share them with the rest of us that are semi-miserably holding on. No, I'm just kidding. It's the same heat as every year. And I always try to convince myself that it's going to be okay. And it is okay, although some days do feel a little trying. But enough about me. Here we are. As always, it's a pleasure to welcome new friends to the new in your comment, and we'll be so very happy to give you a nice little welcome. If there's something truly important that you wish to share with us, it makes a big difference, and it helps us a lot if you do so by adding a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment. We have a fair amount of news for today, June 15, so I am going to get started with today's headlines. Okay. Oh my goodness, everything seems to be falling apart. I push the button and nothing happens. Boom. I love it when technology is not on my side because it leaves me wondering, am I going to be okay with the broadcast or not? But here we are. For starters, health authorities have announced that starting on June 16, parents will be able to register their children ages 5 and above to receive COVID-19 vaccines. To that effect, the federal government has acquired... Okay, so it's going to be one of those days. Fine, must be the heat. Anyway, as I was saying, the federal government has acquired 8 million vaccines for children 5 to 11 to be able to get their COVID vaccine. At present time, minors ages 12 to 17 are eligible for it, but this is the first time that the federal government extends availability to children. As can be expected, parents must pre-register their children and accompany them with the proper paperwork in order to be able to receive the vaccines. But please know that no specific dates have been announced for Puerto Vallarta just yet. For the rest of us, though, the lot of 1,500 Pfizer vaccines that was announced last week for the general population was depleted in no time, but authorities have announced that as of yesterday, another lot of 1,500 vaccines is in town and available for the general population aged 12 and above to be able to receive their first, second, or booster shot if needed. These vaccines are available at local health centers throughout the city. We also learned through this news note that free COVID testing continues at Parque Hidalgo this week for anyone that is showing symptoms such as fever, muscular pain, headaches, or has been in contact with anyone that tested positive for COVID. Moving right along, CEPAL has joined the local government offices that are reinstating face mask use, and they are encouraging anyone that has any business to conduct at their offices to wear a face mask as well. In other news, by the looks of these photographs, the improvement being done to eliminate floods at Las Juntas near the border with Nayarit is no small feat. We know there is still a fair amount of work to be done in order to complete the new rain canal, but I certainly appreciate the work that has been completed so far. A couple of days ago, we announced that this was at probably like 45% completion, so they still have some things to do here. Meanwhile, in Boca de Tomalán, in the other side of the bay, this recent photograph of the broken down pier makes it easy to appreciate how authorities do not want anyone to continue to use it, as it is increasingly dangerous to do so. Regardless, tourism service providers have removed the danger seals that had been placed by the authorities and continue to use it as usual, arguing that they have no choice but to use it as loading and unloading passengers and cargo on the beach can be just as treacherous, if not more, depending on how high the waves are at any given moment. Now, to give you an idea of how important this pier is, there are 40 motorboats using it on a daily basis, approximately. These boats are in the business of not only transporting passengers to Las Animas, Quimixto, Yelapa, Chimo, and Corrales, they are also used to move everything from appliances to construction materials to these destinations that are inaccessible by land. According to this news note, Jalisco's Secretary of Tourism, Vanessa Perez Lamas, recently toured the pier at Boca de Tomalán to have a better appreciation of the urgency to replace it, but to date we have not seen any news headlines indicating when this will actually happen. And now let's talk about monkeypox for a second. Yesterday, Health Undersecretary Hugo Lopez-Gatell announced that Mexico has 5 confirmed cases, out of which 4 are in Mexico City. And the 5th one, of course, is the one that was diagnosed here in Puerto Vallarta last week, involving a patient that has returned to the United States. Despite the number, Lopez-Gatell assured that there is no risk at this time and that those infected can heal in a period of between 14 and 28 days. The issue of whether Mexico will continue to observe daylight savings or not came up on President López Obrador's Monday morning press conference. His reply was, "Start getting used to it, going away." So even though the decree to eliminate daylight savings is not a done deal, President López Obrador sees it as something that will be very, very likely be approved. And before we go to the weather, this is just an interesting bit of knowledge. That massive rainstorm that affected Guadalajara a couple of days ago beat a record from 39 years ago when 114 millimeters of rain was recorded, whereas, and this was back on the same date or the same month, well, the next month, but the previous historical record was from July 27, 1983, 114 millimeters. And the rainfall that we had, or that Guadalajara had a couple of days ago, was 158 millimeters. we can take a look now at our own weather forecast just to see what we have in store for the next couple of days. That cloud looks like an elephant who drank a little too much tequila, says Snarky Weather. Well, I wonder if it's the cloud that drank it or the people that spotted it. Anyhow, it is 29 degrees right now, feels like 29. Humidity is at a lovely 95% right now, and our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 78. Our weather forecast for today says we're going to experience possible light rain, or we experienced possible light rain until morning. I don't think it rained, but we are going to have more rain in the evening with a high temperature of 30 and a low temperature of 24. Then tomorrow, Thursday, rain in the evening and overnight with a high of 31 and a low of 25. And on Friday, possible light rain in the morning and overnight with a high of 31 and a low of 24. And of course, we are keeping track of the new tropical storm that is keeping things interesting in the Pacific Ocean. His name is Blas, and here he is. There he is, going around and around in circles. And even though it hasn't turned into a hurricane just yet, there is a chance that it will by tomorrow. The good news is, however, that its path is not headed anywhere near our way. It's headed out to the ocean, but we could still experience increased rainfall, as we have just mentioned. In other news, we're still keeping track of that lovely ahuehuete tree that was planted in Mexico City. Apparently, the 20-year-old specimen is not looking so good, and people are concerned that it may be dying. Of course, Mexico City's Mayor Claudia Sheinbaum came to the rescue, indicating that the tree is okay. It is being watered on a daily basis, and she has requested more professional opinions from biologists and forest engineers to ensure that the tree is going to be okay and will actually survive being moved from where it was before and planted in Mexico City. And our last one for today, of course, social media was abuzz all day yesterday due to this Bengal tiger that was spotted sauntering leisurely on its own in the municipality of Tecuala in Nayarit. Apparently, authorities took quite some time to show up, giving many the opportunity to document the tiger with photos and videos. And eventually, some guy reported to be in his 20s showed up with a leash. The tiger recognized the guy. The guy attached the leash to the tiger, and they walked home without incident. It is unclear whether the owners have the proper paperwork to keep such an animal in captivity, but there you have it. Don't leave your door open unless you don't mind your tiger taking off for a stroll from time to time. And now let's take a look at your comments. I'm totally perplexed by this delay, and I'm going to continue looking into it. So my apologies if my mouth is not moving in sync with my picture. Lots of good mornings, as I can see. It's always great to read your good mornings from near and far. John says, hurricane season has begun. Please be nice, Blas. Hopefully, we'll get some rain when rain is necessary, but not so much that it causes destruction. Boom, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum. I love it. My lips are not in sync. Yes, they are not. Let's see what else we have. D is reporting power outages. Of course, I don't know where here is, but sorry to hear about that. Let's see what else we have. Oh, D says, old school here, all doors and windows open, no fans working. Sorry to hear that. I hope your power is restored soon. Sherry says, there goes the phrase, read my lips. No, I don't think that's going to work today. Although, I seem to be in sync now. How funny. Very, very strange behavior from my computer. Let's see. Da da dee, da 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 da. Lorraine says crocodiles and now tigers. Let's not make this a trend. Let's not make this a trend. Um, Mateo from Mexico City says, Paco, if I ever need an excuse to adore you, now I have one. You're the only Mexican who I've ever heard pronouncing Scheinbaum's last name correctly. Everyone on the radio and TV pronounces it phonetically. Shane, Shanebaum, Shane. Well, it's Scheinbaum. Is it Shane? Shine. I don't know, but I'm glad to know that I'm doing it properly. Thank you very much, Mateo. Let's see what else. Um, Harold says Mexico City tree is likely suffering from transplant shock. Well, I'm not an expert, but we do know that the air quality in Mexico City is nothing to laugh about. So even if the tree is being properly watered, the leaves and the trunk are being exposed to all that pollution. And I personally don't know whether that affects a tree or not. Again, it's a matter of being better acquainted with biology, which I'm not. Okay, so here we are. We are pretty much caught up with everything that we had to share with you today, and I can't believe that I went so quickly through the broadcast today. I thought I had enough things prepared for you, but it's only 10:46. So I am going to play Fill in the Blank to keep us entertained. And to keep us entertained, we are going to play Fill in the Blank. And no, we're not going to play the You're Not an English Speaking Local because, or maybe we should play that today. Sure, why not? Maybe it is time to play this. Oh, that's right. We haven't played in a few months. So please complete this rite of passage statement. You cannot call yourself a Puerto Vallarta English speaking local until you have blank. And of course, we added a new one to the mix just a couple of days ago. We said you cannot call yourself a Puerto Vallarta English speaking local until you become acquainted with Mexico's Christmas song. Not Christmas, happy birthday song. What am I talking about? And of course, we know a little bit more about it because we discussed it just the other day. But have you come up with any other rites of passage that we should be recording here at Coffee and Headlines? Please feel free to share them in your comments before we take off today. Oh, wow. I'm delayed again. How fascinating. Okay, I'm going to definitely get in touch with tech support to find out why this is happening. Patty Armstrong says you are not a local until you've received your resident card. That's a good one. I suppose you can be a local without one, but ultimately you would want to take care of your paperwork, I imagine. But that is a really good suggestion. Are you an English speaking, not you, Patty, but is anyone out there an English speaking local without a resident card? And is this something that you find advantageous or not advantageous? I'm just curious. Being a Mexican national, as you know, I don't need to take any of that paperwork into consideration. But I'm wondering if it is a case in which there are a lot of people out there that have been living here for a long time and yet do not have a permanent resident card. I would love to see your comments about this. Mateo says you're not an English-speaking local until you've called even an 80-year-old waiter joven or an 80-year-old waitress señorita. That's a cute one. Of course, for those of you that you know, joven means young man and señorita means miss or young lady. And it is quite common for us in Mexico to use joven and señorita on people regardless of their age. So that is a good one. Sheila gets adventurous. You cannot call yourself an English-speaking local until you have eaten menudo. I love it. Menudo is absolutely wonderful. Until you have lived in Puerto Vallarta for more than 6 months a year for a couple of years minimum. I don't know. I suppose we all have different criteria, but for me personally, the idea of a local is somebody that lives here, although I am pretty respectful of the fact that many of you consider yourselves locals, even when you spend half the year elsewhere. Sherry asks, okay, what is menudo? I am not going to go there today, Sherry, because I'd rather go and look it up, as I suggest you do, and have a more um, coherent response. Have I eaten it? Yes. Can I tell you what was in it? Not really, but that's the beautiful thing of Mexican dishes. Um, any more questions? Any more comments? I don't see any, but that's okay too. I think it's getting to be. Oh, Dave, Menudo is a singing group. Of course, Menudo is a singing group, but it is also a national dish in this case. So we are definitely not talking about eating formerly teenage pop stars at any time in the near future. If you enjoyed today's broadcast, as fractured as it was because of the delay, if you learned something new, if I gave you a chuckle, or if you became curious about something, you know what to do. We are here thanks to your support, and your support is very important to Luna and myself. As always, I appreciate your company, your questions, your comments, and your following. So come back soon, stay healthy, and most importantly, if life gives you lemons, you could make lemonade, but consider making chocolate cake instead, and that way you will leave the assholes wondering how on earth you did it. See you soon.